Let's talk about something we all face but rarely know how to handle: disrespect. Whether it's a rude comment, someone belittling you, or just plain arrogance, it stings. But here's the truth: the way you respond to disrespect defines you more than the disrespect itself. First, stay calm. When someone disrespects you, your natural reaction is to fire back. But if you mirror their behavior, you've just stepped into their level. Remember, their actions are a reflection of them, not you. Self-control is your greatest weapon. Second, set boundaries. If someone repeatedly crosses the line, don't let it slide. Speak up, calmly but firmly. You don't have to be rude, just clear. A simple "I don't accept being spoken to like that" goes further than an angry outburst ever will. Third, learn the power of silence. Not every jab needs a counterpunch. Sometimes the best response to disrespect is none at all. Silence tells them, "You don't have the power to shake me," and that burns deeper than any comeback. Fourth, respond with confidence, not anger. If you do choose to reply, do it with steady composure. Respect doesn't mean weakness. It means you know your worth and you won't let someone else's behavior define it. Fifth, don't be afraid to walk away. Protecting your peace is not losing, it's winning. Walking away doesn't make you weak. It means you're strong enough not to waste energy on someone who doesn't deserve it. And finally, choose wisely who gets your energy. Life is too short to invest in people who drain you with disrespect. Pour your time into people who lift you, not people who pull you down. So here's the takeaway: disrespect is unavoidable, but dishonoring yourself by reacting poorly is optional. Keep your calm, protect your boundaries, and remember, the loudest statement you can make is showing that you value yourself enough not to play in the mud with them. When someone disrespects you, the very first instinct you might feel is to snap back, defend yourself, or match their tone with the same energy they are throwing at you. It feels natural, almost like a reflex, because nobody likes being belittled, ignored, or talked down to. But here's the truth: disrespect says more about the other person than it ever will about you. Their words, their actions, their attitude, it's a mirror of their character, not a reflection of your worth. And when you understand that, it becomes a lot easier to stay calm instead of matching the disrespect that's been given to you. Think about it. If someone is throwing negativity your way, what do they actually want? They want a reaction. They want to pull you into their storm so you'll lose control the same way they have. The moment you raise your voice, lash out, or fire back, you've given them exactly what they came for. But when you stay calm, when you keep your composure, you take away their power. You show them that their disrespect has no control over you. That's real strength, not the loud response, but the quiet refusal to let someone else's behavior dictate yours. Now, staying calm doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're letting someone walk all over you. Calmness is not the absence of power, it is display of it. Anyone can lose their temper, anyone can shout or insult. That's the easy part. But to stand tall, breathe deeply, and respond with clarity when you've been disrespected, that's rare. That's maturity. And people notice it. Even the person who disrespected you notices it, because deep down, they expected you to bite back. When you refuse to match disrespect, you change the tone of the entire moment. Instead of chaos, you bring control. Instead of tension, you create stability. It doesn't just protect your peace, it also commands respect. You're telling the world, without even saying it directly, "I know my value, and I won't let your behavior decide who I am." That message is louder than any insult you could throw back. Of course, it's not always easy. Sometimes the disrespect comes from people close to you, family, friends, co-workers, and that makes it sting even more. But even then, the principle remains the same. Their behavior is a choice they make, and your response is a choice you get to make. You can either let their actions pull you down to their level, or you can rise above and remind yourself that not everything deserves your energy. At the end of the day, disrespect will always exist in the world. You can't control it, and you can't always avoid it, but you can control how you carry yourself when it shows up. And the most powerful thing you can do is to stay calm, refuse to mirror the negativity, and remind yourself that their behavior is about them, not you. Because when you master that, you don't just protect your dignity. You prove that respect is something you hold within, no matter how others choose to act. One of the most important things you can ever do for yourself in life is to set boundaries. Boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are about showing people how to treat you. The truth is, people will treat you the way you allow them to. If you continuously let someone speak to you with disrespect, interrupt you, or take advantage of your kindness, you are silently teaching them that their behavior is acceptable. But when you draw a line and make it clear where respect begins and ends, you not only protect your self-worth, you also teach others how to interact with you. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. They say, this is who I am, this is what I value, and this is what I will not tolerate. Without boundaries, you leave yourself open to being drained by people who don't value your time, your energy, or your dignity. And the tough part is that many times people won't stop crossing the line on their own. Why? Because it benefits them. It benefits them when you always say yes, when you always stay quiet, or when you allow them to push you beyond your comfort. That's why boundaries are necessary. You are the only one who can draw them. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you have to be aggressive or harsh. In fact, the strongest boundaries are communicated calmly and firmly. For example, if someone constantly interrupts you in conversation, you might say, I'd like to finish my thought before you respond. That's not rude, that's respectful, to both you and them. Or if someone consistently makes jokes at your expense, you can respond with, I don't find that funny, and I'd appreciate if you didn't say things like that. It's simple, direct, and powerful. The moment you say it, you set the standard. The beauty of clear boundaries is that they actually create healthier relationships. At first, people may resist them, especially if they're used to having their way with you. But the people who truly care about you will adjust and respect those lines. And the people who don't respect them, they're showing you who they really are. Either way, boundaries reveal truth. They filter out who deserves your presence and who doesn't. It's also important to remember that boundaries are not one-time declarations, they're ongoing practices. You will need to reinforce them, sometimes repeatedly. And yes, it can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to saying no. But every time you uphold a boundary, you strengthen your self-respect. Every time you let a boundary slide, you weaken it. Consistency is key. At the end of the day, you are responsible for teaching others how to treat you. If you allow disrespect to continue unchecked, you silently give permission for it to repeat. But when you set boundaries clearly and stand by them, you send a different message. I value myself, and I will not settle for less than respect. That message isn't just for them, it's for you too. Boundaries remind you of your worth, and when you honor them, you not only protect yourself from disrespect, you also attract the kind of relationships built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. And that is how you create a life where your peace and dignity are no longer negotiable. Silence is often misunderstood. Many people think being silent when someone disrespects you means you are weak, that you don't know what to say, or that you are letting them win. But the truth is, silence can be one of the strongest responses you can ever give. Not every insult deserves a reaction. Not every provocation needs your words. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to say nothing at all, because silence speaks louder than any comeback ever could. When someone insults you, what they usually want is your attention. They want to see you flinch, they want to watch you get angry, they want to know they hit a nerve. If you respond quickly with anger or defensiveness, you've given them exactly what they came for. You've handed them control over your emotions. But if you stay calm and quiet, you take that control back. Your silence becomes a shield, and your composure becomes a statement. You don't have the power to move me. That's strength. That's confidence. Think about it. How often have you seen an argument spiral out of control because both sides felt the need to get the last word? In the end, nothing is solved, both parties feel drained, and respect is lost on both sides. But when you use silence strategically, you stop that cycle. You refuse to add fuel to their fire. Instead of lowering yourself to their level, you rise above it. You let their words echo into emptiness, and that emptiness becomes heavier for them than anything you could have said. Silence also gives you space. Space to process what just happened. Space to decide if this is even worth your energy, and space to choose a wiser response later. Words spoken in anger are often regretted, but silence is rarely something you wish you could take back. Sometimes silence is the smartest move because it buys you clarity. It allows you to respond, not react. Now, using silence doesn't mean you never speak up. There are moments when disrespect needs to be addressed directly, but there are also moments when responding only validates the person trying to provoke you. Wisdom is knowing the difference. Silence is not avoidance, it's intentional. It's you saying, I'm in control of me and I won't let you drag me where you want me to go. Over time, silence also builds a reputation. When people realize you don't respond to petty insults, they stop wasting their time throwing them at you. They see that you're not easy to rattle, and that creates a different kind of respect. It may not happen overnight, but consistency in holding your composure will set you apart from those who let every word shake them. At the end of the day, silence is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is restraint. It is confidence, and most of all, it is power. By choosing not to respond to every insult, you keep your dignity intact and your peace untouched. Because sometimes the greatest statement you can make is no statement at all. The strength of your silence becomes louder than any insult, and it reminds the world that your worth is never determined by someone else's words. When someone disrespects you, anger often feels like the most natural reaction. Your heart races, your voice rises, and you want to make sure they know they can't treat you that way. But anger rarely delivers the result you hope for. Instead of commanding respect, it usually escalates the situation, making you look reactive rather than strong. Confidence, on the other hand, shifts everything. When you respond firmly but respectfully, you show true power. You send a message that you know your worth and you won't be pulled down to their level. Confidence in moments of disrespect is about control. Control of your tone, your body language, and your words. Think about the difference between shouting back at someone and calmly saying, "I don't appreciate being spoken to like that." The first response invites a fight. The second response sets a boundary. Anger says you're triggered. Confidence says you're steady, clear, and not easily shaken, and that calm authority is something people can't ignore. It's also important to remember that confidence doesn't mean being rude. It doesn't mean throwing sharp words or trying to dominate the other person. Real confidence is quiet strength. It's the ability to look someone in the eye, speak clearly, and stand your ground without raising your voice. It's about showing that you respect yourself enough not to let their behavior dictate yours. And in doing so, you're also modeling what respectful communication looks like, even when the other person isn't offering it to you. Sometimes, responding with confidence is as simple as keeping your posture tall, your voice even, and your message short. You don't need to explain yourself endlessly or justify your feelings. Confidence communicates itself in clarity. For example, "I'm not going to continue this conversation if it stays disrespectful." That statement is short, polite, and firm. You've drawn a line without throwing insults, and you've made it clear that your respect is non-negotiable. Another aspect of confidence is timing. You don't always need to respond immediately. Sometimes taking a breath before you speak is what allows you to deliver your words with strength instead of emotion. A pause can be powerful. It shows you're not reacting impulsively but choosing your words intentionally. And when you do speak, your voice carries more weight because it's grounded, not rushed. The truth is, people often remember how you spoke more than what you said. If you lose your temper, even if your point was valid, it gets buried under the tone of your anger. But when you deliver your message with composure, people remember the strength in your calm. They may not admit it, but they feel it. And even if the person who disrespected you doesn't change, everyone around you sees how you carried yourself. At the end of the day, anger burns hot but fades quickly, while confidence leaves a lasting impression. Responding with confidence doesn't just protect your dignity, it commands respect. Because true strength isn't about who can shout the loudest, it's about who can remain steady when tested. And when you choose to answer disrespect with firm, respectful communication, you prove something powerful, that your value is not up for debate, and no one else's behavior has the power to shake the foundation of who you are. There comes a point in every confrontation where you have to ask yourself a simple question: is this worth my peace? Too often we get caught up in trying to win an argument, prove a point, or have the last word. But the truth is, not every battle is worth fighting. Sometimes the strongest, smartest, and most dignified move you can make is to walk away. Walking away doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you've lost. It means you've chosen yourself over the chaos. It means you understand that your peace is more valuable than proving to someone else that you're right. When you stay in a heated argument with someone who disrespects you, notice what happens. Voices rise, emotions boil, and the disrespect grows. Suddenly, it's not about the original issue anymore. It's about who can talk louder, insult harder, or push further. And even if you win that argument, what have you actually won? The other person is unlikely to admit defeat, and you've spent your energy in a place that leaves you drained and frustrated. Walking away preserves that energy. It protects your calm, your clarity, and your dignity. The ability to walk away is a sign of maturity and self-control. It shows that you understand one of life's greatest truths: not every action deserves a reaction. Some people thrive on conflict. They want to bait you into a fight because your anger feeds them. But when you choose to step away, you starve the conflict. You send a message that your inner peace is not for sale, and it cannot be disturbed by someone else's negativity. That silence, that refusal to engage, is more powerful than any comeback you could deliver. Walking away also creates space. It gives you time to cool down, to think clearly, and to decide if this is even worth addressing later. Sometimes, after walking away, you realize the argument wasn't even worth the breath you would have wasted on it. Other times, you come back with a calmer perspective and can communicate more effectively. Either way, stepping away puts you back in control. It shifts the power from the person who disrespected you back into your hands. Of course, walking away takes courage. Our pride doesn't like it. Pride tells us that leaving looks like weakness, that we're letting the other person win. But that's the trap. The real win isn't in having the last word. It's in having the self-respect to know you don't need the last word. The real win is in walking away with your peace intact and your dignity unshaken. At the end of the day, you have to decide what matters most: winning an argument or protecting your inner calm. The more you value your peace, the less tempted you are to waste it on meaningless fights. Walking away is not surrender, it's strength. It's proof that you value yourself too much to get dragged into battles that only leave you bruised. And when you master the art of walking away, you don't just avoid unnecessary conflict. You build a life where your peace is untouchable, no matter how loud the world around you gets. Your energy is one of the most valuable resources you have. It fuels your thoughts, your actions, your relationships, and the life you're trying to build. But too often, we give that energy away carelessly to people who haven't earned it, people who don't respect it, and people who only drain it. The reality is, not everyone deserves access to your time, your emotions, or your attention. Learning to choose wisely who gets your energy is one of the most powerful steps you can take to protect your peace and live with purpose. Think about it this way: every interaction you have is an exchange. You're either giving energy or receiving it. Some people uplift you, they inspire you, support you, and bring out the best in you. Others do the opposite. They pull you down with negativity, criticism, or constant disrespect. If you're not careful, you end up pouring into people who only take and never give back, leaving yourself empty. That's why it's essential to be intentional about where and with whom you invest your energy. Choosing who gets your energy doesn't mean being cold or cutting people off without thought. It means setting standards. It means asking yourself, does this person respect me? Do they add value to my life? Do I feel better or worse after spending time with them? Your answers will tell you everything you need to know. People who consistently leave you drained, stressed, or disrespected are not people who should have unlimited access to you. Sometimes this choice is hardest with people close to you, family, friends, even coworkers you can't avoid. But even then, you can still control the amount of energy you give. You can decide how much of yourself you share, how often you engage, and how deeply you let them affect your emotions. Protecting your energy doesn't always mean walking away completely. Sometimes it means creating space, limiting interactions, or refusing to internalize their negativity. The truth is, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow. If you continue to give your time and energy to people who disrespect you, they'll keep taking it. But if you set clear boundaries and choose carefully who you let in, you create a circle of relationships built on mutual respect and positivity. That's not selfish, it's necessary. You can't pour into others if you're constantly drained yourself. Protecting your energy also allows you to focus on what truly matters. When you stop wasting energy on people who don't value you, you free up space for your goals, your growth, and the people who actually appreciate your presence. Your energy is like currency. You only have so much of it each day. Spend it where it counts, and stop giving discounts to people who don't deserve it. At the end of the day, not everyone should have a front row seat in your life. Some people belong in the balcony, and some don't belong in the theater at all. Choosing who gets your energy is not about shutting people out. It's about protecting your peace, honoring your worth, and building a life where your time and emotions are invested in places that help you grow. Because when you guard your energy wisely, you don't just protect yourself, you create space for better, healthier, and more respectful connections to thrive. When it comes down to it, dealing with disrespect is less about changing other people and more about mastering yourself. You can't control what someone else says, how they act, or the way they choose to treat you. But you can control your calm, you can set your boundaries, you can use silence as a weapon, and you can respond with steady confidence instead of anger. You can walk away when your peace is at risk, and you can be selective about who gets your energy in the first place. Every one of those choices sends a clear message: you respect yourself, and you won't lower your standards just because someone else has lowered theirs. Respect isn't always given in the world, but it can always be demanded by the way you carry yourself. And when you practice these principles consistently, you'll find that people start treating you differently. Not because they've changed, but because you've changed what you allow, how you respond, and where you focus your strength. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember this: your response is not about proving them wrong, it's about proving yourself right. Proving that you value your peace, your dignity, and your worth above all else. That is the true definition of strength. Thank you.